Hey YouTube, I've been collecting a lot of kind of 80s toys and things for a long time, mainly things that I've kind of bought back that I used to own when I was a kid, so check out my other videos if you like that kind of thing, for tours on figures and all kinds of different 80s memorabilia. But I'm also an artist, an illustrator and a sculptor as well, so these videos are going to be more on my work as a sculptor, so I'll just give you a quick look over here, just to give you a rough idea. There's another video where I sort of do close-ups of a lot of these sculpts that I've done, but today I'm just going to concentrate on just telling you how I do some of them. So this is one of the most recent sculpts that I've done, this armadillo. I've actually got a pet armadillo who is like the love of my life, apart from my wife and my kids, obviously. He's he's the next love of my life, but he's a three-banded armadillo, so I've tried to sculpt him as best I can. It ended up taking me a long time. So this on the outside surface is Milliput, which is comes in boxes like this. It's like a two-part putty, and it sets at room temperature and it goes rock hard. So I really love it for these kind of details and things. It takes about 4 hours to set fully, so it sort of stiffens up as you're using it. So when you first use it, it's really quite soft, and then it gets harder. So it's really good for kind of pushing into and creating kind of patterns like these. Just to give you some idea of the time though that this one took me, each row of scales here on his back took about 4 hours. So yeah, you can see it was a fiddly one, but I really like it. Usually when I've done a sculpt like this, I'll end up then painting it, making it more realistic, because obviously, you know, making his eyes black and that kind of thing would make him more realistic straight away. But then you can also do things like add hair and fur and stuff, because these armadillos, they have a lot of like wisps of hair that come out from underneath their shell, and that would also make him even more realistic. But I quite like the idea one day of maybe having this one cast in bronze, so I'm going to leave him as he is, just in his Milliput kind of state. So that's him. Now, how did I start this guy off? Well, what I do is I make a wire armature first. So you can buy obviously different thicknesses of wire. This one's really quite thin. This is quite a bit thicker. Okay, so this is the stuff that I use to make a kind of an overall shape. Here's a couple of armatures that I can kind of show you that I've just kind of started doing. This one I've covered then in foil. Obviously using foil or something like that makes it a lot cheaper. You can do that, and then you can work over that with your clay. This is another one where I've done the wire armature already in the middle of that, and then this one is covered with Super Sculpey. Super Sculpey is quite nice because it's soft. You can work with it more easily, and it stays soft. It doesn't harden at room temperature. You have to, when you've done it and you're happy with it, you cook it in the oven, and that makes it go hard. So let me just show you over here. Quite often I do a combination. So this is going to be a 9-banded armadillo, which is the sort of the typical armadillo you think of. My 3-banded armadillo is the type that can curl completely into a ball. The 9-banded armadillo is bigger, and yeah, you can see what I've done here. I started with a wire armature. You can just see the wire on the tip of the tail there, and then I've worked over, just to get the main kind of shape. I used stuff called Super Sculpey Light, which is more kind of foamy and you can block it in quicker to get the main shape. And then this is Super Sculpey sort of regular. It's this kind of flesh colour, just to kind of give it the main shape. And then what I'll do is I'll start building up all of the scales and things over the top, you know, like I did with this guy. So it will end up looking like this, because it will all be Milliput covered at the end. So you can see on the bottom of this one, for example, I started doing the all the skin texture, all the wrinkles and things. This is really good fun to do in using Milliput. And then look, you can just see there, just started doing rows of scales on the tail. Quite a lot of the scales are quite unusual shapes. It's quite tricky to kind of get them to work. Obviously with this guy, you have the they sort of go from kind of a bit more rectangular, they kind of change, and they go a bit more kind of hexagonal and things in different places, and I try to do that as best I can, but it's not easy. Anyway, if you like this video, check out my other videos of other sculpts and things, and hit subscribe, because that's the best way of keeping track of anything that I do, and then as I post things you'll be able to see them quicker. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next vid.